Hey Aquarius. Hey, welcome to you. All right, so I went ahead and pre-selected a card for you, which is going to set the theme for your reading for the next 2 weeks from whenever you're finding this. So this is the card we have for you, Aquarius. It says winter, an ending, recharging, reflection. Is this upright? No, it's in reverse. Okay, it feels like, it's interesting because this actually feels like it is some sort of new beginning for you, but I'm very curious as to why we got the winter card. Okay, versus maybe a different one that actually reflected a new beginning, but it feels like, oh, what I'm hearing is a fresh start. Okay. So a fresh start, which also makes sense because I tried to start your reading before this, but I had to do a couple of takes. So it's almost like needing a fresh start, just like I had to re-record. Okay. So yeah, there's definitely an energy here of a fresh start coming through, and there's something really crisp about this winter. That's like what I'm sensing. It's almost like, I feel like I can almost taste how crisp this is, but it's like a fresh start is wanted, like something really like crisp, something, new and uncomplicated is what I'm hearing. I mean, I like that. I get that. That makes sense to me. Is there anything else off this card? Okay, hold on. Yeah, they're showing me right now, and I don't think you could see it. You can't even see it in this card, right? But in the card on this like bench, there's like etched engravings on it, which again, I don't think I'm gonna be able to capture it through this camera, but there's etched engravings on it, and it looks like, for whatever reason, it's looking like a flower garden. I'm seeing like, it's so interesting because it is kind of coming through as a little bit oppositional to this energy, but it's almost like a bit like spring flowers, or like spring into summer flowers. That's so interesting that that's what's appearing, and Spirit showing me the animation of those like blooming. So again, there's almost like, again, a fresh start. Okay, like spring. But again, it's so interesting that we're getting this winter card. I don't know why, but I'm really like, there's something about the fact that this is the winter card that feels really, really important. And it could be just related to the fact that we're like approaching winter or coming into the winter season as I'm recording this. I'm in around mid-December as I'm recording this. So it could be, I do think in part it is like reflecting back that this is in fact the season we're in. But it's almost like coming out of, it feels like a metaphor. It's almost like coming out of a winter of your life, yeah, into spring, into like more of a spring energy. Okay, yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to me. Let's go ahead and keep moving into this message because this feels like it's going to be interesting. So, Spirit, do you want this deck? Let's go with this deck. Okay. All right, so let's go into what's going well for Aquarius over the next 2 weeks. What's going well? So a fresh start after a long winter. And again, this is like a metaphor. It does feel a little, like I said, reflective of the season, but so interesting. Okay, let's get into it. Give me a second, I gotta cut this deck. Do you want this card? Okay, so they gave us the 10 of Wands. Is this upright? Yeah, it's upright. So this is interesting because it's doing a couple things. So one, I think this is the energy you're kind of, so I'm getting like two different messages off this card. One is that I think you've, this is kind of what you've been going through. Like, it feels like it's been, again, like the wind, like it's been a metaphorical winter. Like, it's been kind of hard, is just the energy coming through with this. Like, you can see this person is just like carrying this bundle of wands and it looks really heavy. So I definitely feel like this is confirmation around the winter bit. Yeah, the winter bit of this, this message. So that's absolutely correct. The other way this is coming in, and I think what's going well for you, Aquarius, is this is coming in as like not giving up. Like you see this person kind of like pushing through and continuing to move forward in spite of like challenges, obstacles, and whatever's coming up. Yeah, so it feels like, and I actually think that's what's going well for you. It seems like this feels, it's coming in with, like I said, a past, like it's like a past energy, and that past could be like almost like if you're riding the coattails of what you're exiting, even as you're coming into this reading. Like it feels like it's almost like this breeze. You see the breeze kind of on this winter card here. Yeah, it's almost like that. I feel like this feels like a past energy. It feels like the winter has probably actually passed, but maybe it's still like cold metaphorically, and you're still getting the like breezes and kind of stuff like that. So maybe you've been through the thickest part of winter is what I'm hearing. And it still feels like even coming into this reading, potentially you're still having some of the, like I said, breeze, the cold winter breeze coming through, but it doesn't feel like you're in like the snow per se, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, so I think that's actually what's going well for you. It feels like you're moving into a fresh start. It's almost like that period of transition between seasons. That's kind of what the energy is, which is why I was talking about why there's a crispness. There's like a crispness to the cold. There's also to like when spring happens, it's kind of crisp. So yeah, it's that energy is what I'm feeling in my body right now. But I think that's what's going well for you, is like you haven't given up and you've still like persevered is what I'm hearing. And so it just feels like there's a fresh start that's like coming in or wanting to come in over the next 2 weeks in some area or domain of your life, whatever that may be. Okay, I really like that. Spirit, do you want this deck? All right, we got to switch decks. One moment. This one. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, and now we're going to go deeper into the message. So Spirit, what's on top for Aquarius? What do you want to talk about with Aquarius? What do I need to know? Ready? Oh, cool. Exactly. Okay. I like it. Ace of Cups. Yeah. It almost kind of is giving the energy of spring. Do you see that? Kind of with like the, I don't know, is this a lily or a lotus? Like a lily pad? Yeah, but it's giving kind of the energy of spring here. So this is definitely like confirming some of that. It feels like, again, a fresh start. This is actually what this is coming through as. It feels very much so like that. And I'm struck by the sun here that's coming out of this cup. It's like, yeah, it feels really good. Again, it feels like kind of a spring awakening in a way. That feels really abundant. Okay, and right now it may be coming in like bits and pieces is what I'm hearing. Okay, so they're showing me, let me show you this. So they're showing me the, you see the little water droplets here? And you see the like footprints here? It's almost like an energy of coming in like staccato, like staccato in terms of like music. It's almost like that. Like it's kind of like coming in like little bursts. So you may be noticing kind of this fresh energy or fresh start coming in like bursts. I'm also getting a sense you may have like little bursts. Okay, I hear that's right. I feel like you may also have little bursts of energy that start happening for you over the next 2 weeks. And like I said, it almost feels like something's like waking up. And I keep seeing that the like garden bloom or the flowers start blooming as if this were spring. And I'm hearing tulips for someone. But that's like what it feels like. It feels really good. So I think that's how you may notice it over the next 2 weeks, is just little bursts of energy. But I think there's a smoothing out that's needed. Okay, so there's a smoothing out that's needed for this to like, I'm just writing this down. So I make sure I capture this, because there's a smoothing out that's needed. That's what Spirit is saying right now. Like there's a smoothing out that's needed. Just like the water comes out of this cup really like smoothly, almost kind of like it's giving like fountain vibes. But there's a smoothing out that's needed. Can you talk about that smoothing? Is that something Aquarius needs to do? I'm hearing yes, so it's something you need to do. Okay, and to anchor in this fresh start energy. Okay, can we get more information on that? This deck? This one? Okay, I have to switch decks one more moment. So let's get more information on how you can anchor in this fresh start. Because again, it feels like it's coming in bursts, which feels good, but I feel like you're gonna want this more consistently, which makes sense. You probably do. All right, ready? Okay, King of Swords in reverse. Do you have more? Two of Cups. Okay, one more. Knight of Cups. Upright? No, reverse. Knight of Cups, reverse. Oh. This is interesting. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. We have the Two of Cups, and we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. Okay, so this is interesting. There's some sort of, so I'm going to talk through this a bit because it's coming in, it's not coming in as smooth for me as I'd like either. So, because I'm feeling the energy here, but I think there is a smoothing that's wanting to happen. Okay, so I feel like there's some sort of, with the Two of Cups, the Two of Cups is coming through as like, almost balancing the energy between the Knight of Cups and the King of Swords in reverse. There's some sort of like, this is actually coming through as the smoothing. It's almost like you see the two cups and the rainbow between. Yeah, it's almost like needing to come into balance with these two things, which is interesting. Okay, I feel like there needs to be some sort of like marrying of, okay, there needs to be some sort of marrying of sort of your like passion or passionate pursuits, or what's a better word for that? The passion you have for something, whatever this might be, whatever this situation might be, and the sort of logical planning, very rigid sort of this King of Swords in reverse is coming in as like a planner, but it's coming in reverse because I think Spirit is trying to say with both of these cards, it's almost like this is coming through as like passion and creativity and inspiration and spontaneity, and this one's coming in as very like fixed and rigid and very like this one's a planner, this one's got the spreadsheets, this one's got the budget, this one's got the like, it's like very anchored in the 3D in a lot of ways, which is interesting because it's air energy, but it's coming through as very like I said, it's almost like the boundaries or the rigid structure. It's like when you plan something and you have a plan and you're like, I'm gonna stick to it, okay? It's almost like needing to like balance and marry these things, okay? So like not too much of either. In order to I'm hearing to manifest your dreams, you need to have a balance of both. And it does require some planning, but it also requires some spontaneity, some passion, some source, moments of inspiration. This card can be very present, but there's an energy here of like wanting you to balance it. This is coming through as almost two parts of yourself, especially with this Two of Cups, like two different parts of yourself, and wanting these two to like meet and kind of like collaborate. I'm hearing the word corroborate for some reason. I don't even know how that makes sense in this context, but that feels like it's for someone. These two elements can be parts of yourself. Okay, so I'm hearing that. These also could be two different people. These also could be two different situations. So you'll want to make sure that you apply this energy where it goes. The one is very like planned and methodical. Yeah, that's the word I've been looking for, methodical. The other one is more spontaneous, creative. It's coming through with a very like Piscean kind of vibe. So it's kind of both of those things, but I feel like Spirit is asking for there to be like almost like a connecting or a meeting between these two things. For someone, this is around work, and this is actually like I'm hearing two members of your team. And so needing to like get sort of in the meeting room together and really come to sort of an agreement, because these two are agreeing, they're shaking hands. Okay, but no matter what the situation, that is definitely for someone. Okay, no matter what the situation is, so that would be the recommendation from Spirit in terms of that. But there is a needing to like balance these two, okay? Because both have strengths. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, so now these move into the upright version. Both of these have strengths. Okay, so they both have strengths, but you can't have too much of one or the other. It needs to be balanced. Whew, okay. I hope that makes sense. That was quite a message, but I feel like if you've been leaning too heavily, so I'm going to say this because it just Spirit wants me to, but if you've been leaning too heavily on like a plan, maybe you have like a spreadsheet or a project management plan, or you just have things like really, again, in order. Spirit wants also you to remember that like, this part is going to be important too. Like you can't manifest without it, because if you lose your heart in the process, then you haven't really like accomplished what you set out to do. Okay, so Spirit wants to make sure you also keep heart in this. I'm hearing that specifically for someone. And what's also coming through is like that you're still receiving the kind of inspiration and creativity from like your higher self, because this is almost like coming through as a source of that from your higher self. If like that we're up high, it's also coming through from Spirit. Okay, so Spirit wants to make sure that line of communication is open. Okay, but you definitely need both, like understanding how to like navigate and maneuver the sort of like material plane and the bounds of kind of that realm, as well as the kind of like spiritual elements of this as well, which are very like heart-centered and heart-focused and very emotionally attuned as well. Okay. Woo. Do you have more to say on that, Spirit? Okay, yes. So give me a second here. There's definitely a message coming in here around like connection and relationships with this Two of Cups. Okay, so I'm getting a very different, okay, this is a very specific slice of this message for someone. I'm just gonna hopefully quickly deliver this. But I'm also catching this through as these being two people, could be two or more people, potentially in connection. It doesn't have to be romantic, but there is an element of this I am catching that it is. It's almost like someone wants to stay and try to make it work, and someone else's heart is calling them in a different direction. So what's the recommendation with that, Spirit? Okay, so I'm hearing this. Oh, interesting. So they're linking this. You can't really see. I don't know if you can really see it. This person has on their arm a tattoo of flowers, which actually look like the flowers from this bench that I was talking about. So again, there's an element of like someone here, yeah, one of these people wanting a fresh start. Again, their heart's kind of, or they're being drawn elsewhere. Another person wants to kind of stay in place and try and like, let's see if we can't fix this or make it work. I just feel like Spirit is asking you to, there's an element of like coming face to face with this. Okay, coming face to face with this, and I think just seeing it clearly for what it is. I think there's an element of like, can we get one card on that? This deck? Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna get just one card because this feels really important for someone. I'm gonna get just one card. What's the recommendation for this, Spirit? Ooh, Hangman in reverse. Yeah, get unstuck from this. Okay. I mean, I hear that. I feel like there's a need for you to come into like a different perspective with this. See it for what it is. See it clearly. There's also a message here of like, you can't, this word feels too strong, but you can't like force someone to stay if they want to go. Okay? You can't like force someone to choose you. If they're not choosing you, that's their loss, okay? And that means like you need to choose you. So there's a real message here of like clarity. There's a real message here of that fresh start. There's a real message here of like, don't hold on to things or kind of cling to things that, this is coming through with a fixed energy now, just like Aquarius has. Like, don't cling on to and to things that don't, I guess sometimes just understand that like change is needed, and that's part of it. I'm also seeing the butterfly here, so this is coming through as an element of transformation. Okay, I don't know if that's helpful at all. I hope it is for someone. It just feels like there's a real need to like see this clearly and for this fresh start. But it feels like no matter what, like coming face to face with it and making the decisions from the place that, yeah, you need to, okay? But again, you can't hold on to things that don't want to be held on to, okay? But you need to choose you, okay? We've always got to choose ourselves. Like, that's the most important lesson here. All right, so that felt like it was definitely part of relationship and connection, just in general. It didn't even have to be romantic. So that feels like it's part of it. I do think there's an energy of, like I said, coming into like harmony and balance with this, whatever this energy is that you're working with across any dimension or domain of your life. I feel like there's a needing to like align perspectives with this Hanged Man. And I think to, you know, take action from there to move forward from there. Because again, this is still coming through with like a persistence, but the persistence here or perseverance feels like it's in a good way. It's like understanding there may be obstacles that come up, but either way, they're going towards their fresh start. Okay, but Spirit is saying like that is here for you, and there's no lack of, if you want abundance or connection or emotional attunement or whatever it is that you're looking for, like there's no lack of that here in this universe. Okay, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. There's definitely like a need for harmony here. A harmonizing energy. Okay, so let's keep going. This deck? This one? Okay, let's keep going. Interesting message here. Okay, one moment. Cut this deck. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of kudos here because I'm just getting like how much there's like this element of needing to like, you know, kind of work with this situation and kind of like navigate it the best way you can. I'm almost seeing like they're showing me the animation of like a boat or a ship going through a river, and there being like rocks and things and needing to like, you know, with your oar or paddle, like trying to like navigate it. So I feel like, again, it's coming in with this 10 of Wands energy, but I feel like you're doing it, and I feel like you're doing a good job of it too. Yeah, but that fresh start feels like really present here. It's almost like you come to the end of the river and it opens up, and then, you know, there's like a waterfall. The Ace of Cups is giving like a waterfall vibe right now. There's like a waterfall, and there's this like gorgeous view, and you're like, oh my gosh, where did I end up? This is so cool. Like, I really like that. I hope that makes sense, because that's the kind of imagery Spirit is sending through and wants you to have, to know what's connected with this fresh start. Did you want that one? The Hermit. All right, so we have the Hermit. Look how gorgeous that card is. This is so cool. It's almost like you decide to like camp out like near the waterfall and just like, yeah, this is, I really like that. This is the Hermit. It's the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. Are these all upright? Okay, yeah, these are all upright. So yeah, I think this is still continuing a little bit onto the message that I gave, but a couple things. So first of all, these two cards are coming in as like an understanding of like kind of the energy that you're exiting. When I was talking about sort of the winter and the kind of breeze of winter and all of that. So these two are kind of confirming that energy. The Eight of Cups is definitely giving like, here's what you're moving away from, because that's what this card speaks to traditionally. So it's definitely like what you're moving away from. And this Five of Pentacles is a card of literally being out in the cold and of being cold. You see these like two birds are out in the cold, and I don't know if you can see the rain, but it's like raining. It's torrentially raining, but there's a building they're seeing that's warm inside. Yeah, and so I feel like that's this reflects the energy of what we've been talking about and like what's kind of like been you're moving away from. I am sensing a bit of like coldness between these two parties, whoever these represent or whatever situation this represents. Again, parts of yourself or otherwise. It just feels like there's a bit of coldness, especially with this Five of Pentacles and the Winter card. There was a bit of coldness. So I think the energy here is trying to like warm it up with the Hermit. It's almost like, yeah, there is a kind of going inside together. It's like almost inviting everyone into your like tent here and just being like, hey, let's work this out. And you see there's a lantern in here, right? Just like the Hermit traditionally has in the traditional version of this card. So it's almost like wanting to bring the warmth to this situation. Again, I'm catching the same warmth that's in this Five of Pentacles. It's coming through with the same energy here, but it's almost like needing to kind of like go inside yourself. And I think like, because the Hermit is around internal reflection, especially with this particular version with the moon here, it's coming through as like internal reflection. Oh, and it's reflected on here. I don't know if you see this. It's like reflected here. Here it is, and it's reflected here. Yeah, so there's definitely a reflection, internal reflection that's needed. But yeah, I just don't think you want this. I just don't think you want this. I don't think you want the winter either, right? Like that makes perfect sense. Like, I just don't think you want those two things. And so, yeah, I think the call here, like I said, is to kind of like bring this into balance in whatever ways that you can. Okay, but yeah, this has been an interesting reading. I definitely feel like, again, this fresh start feels like it's here. It feels completely possible because this Ace of Cups is really, really strong. This fresh start is so here and possible. But I do feel like the energy you're like moving away from. That feels really strong. And like I said, I think there's some sort of balancing needed. There's potentially some sort of conversation that's needed, because I'm catching that with the King of Swords, because the swords do speak to communication, and you see the sword here, which does speak to like a conversation. It feels like there may need to be, this is coming through as like this Two of Cups has such like an energy of almost being like a peacemaker. It's like almost like a peacemaker of some sort, but that's honestly been the entire energy of like most of this reading has been like peacemaking between these two either people or energies. And so I think Spirit really wants you to do that and to help the situation like adopt a new perspective, so that way you all are able to like, you know, walk in the direction or move in the direction that I think feels more aligned with everyone involved, or all of the kind of parts of yourself or parties involved. There's an alignment, but it also feels like it's just balanced. There's some sort of balancing that's here, which feels really good with that Two of Cups. And what that does is it smooths out the waters for this fresh start. Okay, but it does feel like there's some sort of, this is giving a lot of like Libra energy, like kind of like the Justice card, but it's very much so like a kind of like a group peacemaking effort is what it's coming through as. All right, so I hope that's making sense. Let me see here. Spirit, do we want an extended? Okay, they're saying yes. So we're going to go into an extended here, just go deeper into this message. It feels like there is a much deeper layer to this winter bit. And especially with the Five of Pentacles coming out, it feels like there's something even definitely underneath this. So I think we're going to do that in the extended. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope there were some recommendations that came through. I definitely feel the different situations that are happening for all of you. And, you know, I've done my best to sort of generalize that energy, but I definitely feel like, again, if this is in connection with someone, the message from Spirit is like to always, you know, to love yourself and just like be with yourself and like what your needs are, and to make sure you're able to give that to yourself. If that looks like, you know, if this is in connection and needing like a third party to support with any sort of the communications between that, I feel like, again, this peacemaking or coming into balance, very Libran energy is coming through here. So I am seeing that, but yeah, Aquarius, I like where this is going. This is a really interesting reading. I don't think I've had one like this before. So I definitely feel you kind of in that energy, and especially, particularly if we have holidays coming up and you're doing some of this within your connection. So that makes sense. But yeah, we're going to go ahead into the extended. If you'd like to, you know, follow along to that, I'll have that information in the description box below. I also have personal readings right now, so if you'd like to check those out, I do have my website listed below as well. And if this reading resonated with you, the thing that would help me the most is if you could like, comment, share, anything like that would be great. But Aquarius, it's been so great doing this reading for you, and to have gotten the opportunity to channel this message. I hope to see you in the extended, but if I don't, I'll see you at your next reading. And good luck over this next 2 weeks. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye for now.